Jesus and the power of the Spirit is that same peace baby Luke was baptized in, and you and I as well, on a Pentecostal baptismal celebration. And every new day of grace where the sun rises, God would shower us and bathe us with His peace. Rise, my peace is with you, declares Jesus. As the Father sent me, so send I you. That becomes our mission. This is the peace which the church is to proclaim, the peace which we as God's people are to claim by entering into forgiveness, acceptance, love for God and for one another. Forgiveness in the midst of contrasting all the evil energies which cry out for retribution, in the midst of legal systems which often succumb to a form of vengeance and payment for wrong. The Psalm of Pentecost is the power of forgiveness. If you're not on Brian Rude, missionary pastor in El Salvador, if you're not on his blog or getting his emails, email me, I'll send it to you. Amazing themes in terms of how the death rate in El Salvador has gone down significantly. It's only 10 persons a day in the penal system. It's a significant reduction from about 8 amazing themes of peace that is moving in the land. Still so much to do, but the amazing peace. Several Catholic priests have been working in the penal system. It's an amazing, amazing outpouring of a spirit that has not been present. And as much as our human DNA often calls for an eye for an eye, this Pentecostal gospel calls for peaceful kindness to any enemy. Our Pentecostal gospel calls us for peaceful kindness to even any persecutor. And the radical peace of God is full well stated in the old hymn. It's called the peace of God. Peace of God, it is no peace, but strife closed in the sod. But yet us pray for one blessed thing, the marvelous peace of God. Knowing we don't have complete peace now, but we rely upon the Prince of Peace to keep us breathing and hopeful in that hour. With that, by way of runway, I'd like to close with a story. The story is from Tony Campola. I marked it 92. I doubt if any of you remembered. We went through it. Nathan, you didn't remember. You didn't miss that Sunday, 92. It's marked in the book. It's called, I didn't bring the book, The Kingdom of God is a Party. Tony Campola. It's a great little book. If you don't know Tony, he is a sociologist by trade, works in an evangelical circle as a preaching and teaching evangelist. He writes his story, and I'm going to speak it firsthand. He'd be strong 75 now. I understand he may, with some prayer breakfast, be part of Saskatoon too. It comes out of southern, I'll say, Texas. He writes, whenever writers are asked, did that really happen? Is that story true? Well, I will say in this case, not entirely. For what I'm about to describe, it did happen, but the sequence of events I've compressed, plus the names and the settings are made up. And the dialogue for this writing has to be contrived a bit. But the story happened to me. And thereby it's essentially true. And now it's about 20 years ago. Tony goes on and says, I do a lot of public speaking, and he talks about sometimes I go to Honolulu, or sometimes I go to Toledo, Ohio. I'd rather go to Honolulu. On this particular trip, you know that I live, at this time, he was living in New York. When I traveled from the East Coast, he also taught at Boston. When I traveled from the East Coast to Hawaii, you and I all know there's a time difference. That makes 3 o'clock in the morning feel like about 9 in my day. You know that when I speak of, if you've traveled missing those time zones, you'll understand the difficulty in terms of being in the 50th state of the US of A, Honolulu, when you've been on a jet all night. Tony goes on and says, I find myself and my body ready to go when everyone else is still asleep. And this background I want to give you so that you understand why I'm awake at 3:30 in the morning in Honolulu looking for a place to get something to eat. Up a side street from the hotel, I found a little place that was still open. I go in, take a seat at one of the stools at the counter in a place that really deserved the name Greasy Spoon. I didn't even want to touch the menu. I was afraid that I opened up the menu, something gruesome might crawl out and catch me. The big guy, I guess you could say obese, he's a fat guy, behind the counter comes over and asks, "What do you want?" I told him I'd like a cup of coffee and a donut. He poured the cup of coffee, then wiped his grimy hand on a smudged apron that was all colored, and then grabbed the donut from the shelf on the counter. Now, I'm a realist. I know that things get spilled in the back of the kitchen. Donuts might get kicked around the floor and get picked up. But in public, wouldn't it have been nice if he could have just taken a wax paper or even tongs and had a napkin for it, but he plunked it on the table. As I sat there, gingerly munching my donut and sipping on the very bitter coffee in that early morning, the diner door suddenly swung wide open, and to my discomfort, 8 or 9 very scantily clad girls, provocative girls, boisterous, and I was very quick to learn they were prostitutes, came in and sat all around me. This was their hangout. I was the intruder. It was a small place, and because they sat very close to me, the talk was loud and sometimes crude. I felt completely out of place. I was just about to make a getaway when I overheard the woman right next to me say, "It's going to be my birthday tomorrow. I'm going to be 39. The woman sitting on there said, "So what do you want? A birthday cake? You want us to sing happy birthday? You want me to make a cake?" "Come on," the first woman said. "Why do you have to be so mean? I was just telling you, that's all. Why do you have to put me down? I was just telling you it was my birthday. I don't want anything from you. I mean, why should you give me a birthday party? I've never had a birthday party in my life. Why should I have one now?" And when I heard that, I made a decision. I sat and waited for the women to leave. Then I called over the big guy behind the counter and said, "Do they come in here every night?" "Yeah," he answered. "The one right next to me, does she come here every night?" "Well, yeah, that's Agnes. Yeah, she comes here every night." "Why? What do you want to know?" "Because I heard her say that tomorrow's her birthday," as I told him. "And what do you say we do something about that? What do you think about us throwing a birthday party for her right here tomorrow night?" And one of those cute little smiles came across his face. Have you seen that smile behind Forrest's chubby cheeks? They answered with a measure of delight. "Yeah, that's great. I like that. That's a great idea." So he calls to his wife, comes back from the back room. Who's she been cooking? He shouted, "Hey, come here. This guy's got a good idea. Tomorrow, Agnes' birthday. This guy wants us to join him. Throw a birthday party for her. Right here, right now, tomorrow night." His wife had come out of the back room. She was quite bright and smiling. She said, "That's wonderful. You know, Agnes is one of those people. She's really nice and kind inside. Nobody ever does anything nice for her." "Look," I told him, "if it's okay with you, I'll get back here tomorrow, I guess in the morning now, about 2:30 in the morning. I'll help decorate the place, and I'll even get a birthday cake." "No way," said Harry. That was the guy's name. "No way," said Harry. "The birthday cake's my thing. I'll make the cake." 2:30 next morning, I was back in the diner. I picked up some crepe paper decorations at the store, made a big sign out of crepe paper pieces, cardboard as well. "Happy birthday, Agnes." I decorated the diner from one end to the other. I actually had it looking pretty good. The woman who did the cooking must have gotten the word out in the street, because by 3:15, every prostitute in Honolulu was back in the place. It was wall-to-wall prostitute and me. At 3:30 on the dot, the door of the diner swung open, and in came Agnes and her friend. And I was kind of the MC at the event, and everyone was ready. And of course, you know what we screamed it was. "Happy birthday, Agnes!" I've never seen anyone so flabbergasted, so stunned, so shaken. Her mouth fell open. Her legs actually seemed to wobble a bit. Her friend had to grab her arm to steady her, led her to sit at one of the stools that was pushed up beside her. And then we all sang, "Happy birthday to Agnes. Happy birthday to you." As we came to the end of the singing, "Happy birthday, dear Agnes," her eyes had already become kind of filled and now moist and dripping. And then the birthday cake with all the candles was carried out. Harry's wife, Agnes, lost it. She openly cried, "Birthday! very gruff